and welcome to the channel Bob Sales, this time's next year. So not a lot's been going on in the Veve app the last couple of days. Obviously we've had account merge. This list is going to be Veve comics worth over $100,000 in real life value. Now to try and keep the list fair, I have actually tried to stick to the 9.6 to the 9.8s, but on some of these comics that are that rare, it's kind of hard to find. So in this video, all these comics have actually sold for at least this value in the past. So these are 100% confirmed sales. So one of the other things I did want to point out to make it easier for the purpose of this video, Golden Age comics are 1938 to 1955, Silver Age comics are 1955 to 1970, and Bronze Age comics are 1970 to 1983. Anything after the fact is considered modern. So that's all the rules and the regulations sorted out for the list. Let's get into the video. So the first comic on our beautiful list today is Tales of Suspense, The Power of Iron Man. So this is Tales of Suspense 57. The comic itself was actually published in 1964. And of course this is the first appearance of Archer. We all know him as Hawkeye. So this comic itself actually has a mixed range. But one of these actually sold recently for $102,000. Of course this was a 9.8 and it did have white pages. Go Collect actually shows the last sale was 66,000. So it definitely depends who wants it more in the room. So all of the comics on this list we have in the Veve app already. This was actually released as a 30,000 mint run. The common variant's actually sitting at 470. That's 4 gems 70. And the secret rare's currently sitting at 184. There is only 85 commons left on the floor and there's only 19 secret rares on the floor. Now I can actually remember paying 30 to 40 gems for each common in the app. So if you did watch my last video, you actually know that we did have two amazing comics on the Veve app already, which was the Amazing Spider-Man 4 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So both these comics were published in 1963, and one's the FA of the Sandman and one's the FA of the Vulture. Now both of these comics sitting at a 9.6 is actually sitting between 140,000 to 150,000. I won't go into too much detail with them Veve wise because this is a fairly recent drop. So we do actually have Amazing Spider-Man 3 also in the app, which is the first appearance of Dr. Octopus, or Octavius. So for this comic again, a 9.6 cost you 150,000. So because this one's not as recent as the other two we just had, the Veve stats are a little bit different. So with this one, there's actually total additions of 30,000. Right now, the common's sitting at 13 gems, and the secret rare's at 445. The common's actually got 86 on the floor right now, and the secret rare's only 19. The rest are all under 50. And I must admit, that's one sexy secret rare. So number 5 on the list. Got time for that. I think number 5 on the list. Anyway, number 5 on this is Fantastic Four, number 5. This is the first appearance of Doctor Doom, and it's actually where the origin story starts for Doctor Doom. This one was published in 1962. And the 9.4 actually sold in 2021 for 138k. That has already been beaten by a 9.2 that sold in 2022 for 160,000. So this book is definitely increasing in price, mainly down to the fact that there's speculation it'll be in the MCU. Now this was one of the earlier books on Veve, so this has a 30,000 mint run. The common's only sitting at 24 gems, and the secret rare sitting around 650. Again, you've only got 86 on the common floor, and you've only got 26 on the secret rare floor. So at this point in the list, ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely where the list price starts going up. So the next one on the list is Daredevil number 1, and this is the first appearance of Daredevil, of course. Now this one's been added to the list because it actually can hit really high prices, but it all depends on the grade. So for instance, a 9.4 will cost you 26 grand, and the highest price 9.8 actually sold for 250,000. So I think you'll agree that that's an amazing price difference right there. This is because there is only two 9.8s that currently exist on anyone's radar. Now this comic's been sat in Veve a while, so the price differences have gone up and down like everything else. But right now you can actually get the common for 22 gems. And the secret rare is actually sitting at 650. Again, with this being one of the earlier ones, it is a 30,000 mint run. But with all that being said, it's still a rare book in the app because there's only 67 commons and everything else is under that. But a lot of people probably did pay a lot more for this in the app, which is probably why there's a lot more being held. You've also got to take that into account when looking at some of the older floors of some of the older comics. So I think the next one I'm going to add to my list is going to be Marvel Spotlight number 5. Now this book's from 1972 and of course it's from Marvel. and it's the first appearance of Johnny Blaze and his rendition of the Ghost Rider. So of course a 9.8 of this sold for $264,000. Of course this is a record sale so far, and this one's pretty well publicised. Now this book in VV wise done really well at the start, but with everything else has fallen. So the common's sitting around 10 gems and a secret rare sitting at 300. Bearing in mind this is a 30,000 edition book and all rarities are still sitting over box price, so that's doing overly pretty well. So one of the other ones I did want to add to this list was Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now as you notice there is a lot of Spider-Man on this list. Now this one is a little bit dodgy because it's actually the second appearance of Spider-Man. His first is actually AF-15. Now this one itself can actually rival some major golden keys. The highest price sold so far for a 9.6 was $262,000. That being said, there is a confirmed 9.8 copy out there, so this would no doubt smash that price. So this is definitely a good example of why sometimes holding is a good idea. Now the big thing that sticks out about this comic VV wise is it's a 60,000 edition mint. So this was one of the first comics we got in VV. Right now you can get a common for 23 gems. And the secret rare is actually sitting at 1,700 gems. Now considering there's 60,000 of these books on the app, there's actually only 200 of all the floors put together. So the next comic to take a look at is going to be Journey to the Mystery 83. Of course it's going to be Journey to the Mystery 83. Now this fantastic book is another Silver Age comic, and it's the first appearance of 4. Or we should say the almighty 4. Now a 9.6 graded version of this actually sold in 2015 for 215k. But to make you laugh, a more recent one in 2002 proves why you should hold sometimes. It actually sold for double that at $443,000. So this book VV wise was actually 10,000 editions and the list price was actually 20 gems. The common now is sitting at 60 gems. That's a huge profit. Now one of the things I do notice here is it's actually listed on VV as a Golden Age comic, when it's actually in fact a Silver Age comic. It's kind of like when they list the start of the series rather than the actual year of the comic itself, as in that issue of the comic, because VV's definitely done that from time to time. So this is definitely going to be my last 2 comics now coming up, and these are definitely one of the highest priced comics in the world. With that being said, there's quite a few comics on this app and there's quite a few with in real life values. So please, if there's any I've missed, which I know I have missed some, put them in the description below and I'm sure I can make a follow-up video at a later point. So Marvel 1 Comics has got to be on this list. It's the first ever Marvel comic book. Now a lot of people don't know that originally this was named Timely Comics. Now this comic book itself was actually published in 1939. Of course, the Human Torch makes his first appearance, and this is a very iconic cover. Now a 9.4 of this, bearing in mind this is a very old book, this is going to cost you $900,000. Very special one-off book. So this is a very special one because this was actually used to record the payments of some of the artists, some of the creators of this book. This is very much a one-of-a-kind book and a very, very special collector's piece that will never be done again. Now VV wise again, this is one of the oldest comic books on the app we have, and it was actually a 60,000 mint run. Right now the common's sitting at 53 gems and the secret rare sitting at $8,000. So out of that 60,000 there's literally 350 left on the floor. So as far as I'm aware, that brings us to number 10, give or take. So of course this list would be incomplete without Amazing Fantasy 15. Of course now this is the actual first appearance of Spider-Man. So with this book, even a banged out, burn, ripped book at this point would be worth a lot of value. So at this point, the highest record is $3.5 million for a 9.6. That will definitely go up. Now the people that have been on VV a while know the importance of this book. The people in the comic book world know the importance of this book. So overall, I won't go into too much details about this book. Now AF-15 itself in the VV app has done extremely well. If you was to land one of these for the 20 gem box price, you are absolutely laughing to the bank. So even with this book being a 20 gem list price and a 10,000 mint, the common right now is sitting at 400 gems. And the secret rare, of course, is through the roof. Even though the prices have definitely gone down on this one, they keep going up and down. 20 gems, this is definitely a win.
All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal. And I'm gonna give it to them. Tell your men they work for me now. This is my city.
They won't work for a freak.
why don't we cut you up into little pieces and feed you to your pooches?
So I've been your host, Bob Sales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. A peace.